I mean, the biggest thing I want to do out of this life is leave my mark on this world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, especially with mental health, that fully capable people that don't do it because they don't think they're good enough for it. Dude, I defied every single odd.
Yeah.
Like, I got a black belt in jiu-jitsu and I've
Yeah.
got no fucking hands.
Welcome back to Targeted. Today in World War Studio, I have a good friend of mine from the last couple years. He's been punching me in the face and teaching me how to choke people out and submit them. He's an amazing guy. I'm going to read out some of his credentials. He's a black belt in BJJ. He's got agricultural history, decades in animals, expert in a lot of things. I've seen him post on social media some of the things. I'm like, wow. He's a bonus dad. He's got a computer systems degree. He's getting his first degree, black belt, later in the year. But I've seen him be a motorhead, a carpenter, basically a DIY guy. Sean Klicka, welcome to the show. Say hello to everyone.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
How do you describe yourself? You have so many things that you do, but how do you describe yourself when someone says, hey, what do you do?
I'm just a jack of all trades. Like I try and do everything. I'm not one to have someone, pay to have a service done. Like figure it out, get it done. Like I was telling you this morning, I had to go fix fencing because my cow decided to put a hole in the fence.
How many cows do you have?
I've got one right now. I had two. One of them's in the freezer.
Oh, yeah.
But
Do you do that? Do you raise them so that you can have your own food source?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing. And like the quality you get back, you definitely get out what you put into them.
Yeah.
But the difference in flavor, the marbling of the fat, just hands down, you can't get that from a grocery store.
All right, here it is. Do you name your cows?
Yes. I
You do?
So when it comes to food versus pets, because like my pets are family, like my
Yeah,
dogs, they get the good names. My horse, he gets the good name. When it comes to pet animals and food animals, the pet animals get the good name. The food animals get named after something.
Mm-hmm.
So my last steer, his name was Sirloin. My heifer, her name is Bruja. But like the goats, I named one Meatball. I named one Stewie. The ones that I don't eat, they get like the good names. I had Athena, I had Mama, stuff like that. So it kind of helps separate that, when it's time
It's a
to
system.
take care of business,
That's a system.
it's a
Now,
lot easier.
when's the first time as a child, you probably experienced this because you've been around animals for a long time. When's the first time you actually started thinking about that system that now you have in place?
I was actually living with my aunt and uncle in Norco, California. I was just a kid, but they raised their own pigs.
What?
And I think it was pigs. Again, I was young, but next thing we know, like that's what we ate. And then like hearing stories from my mom, when she was a kid, they did the same thing
Yeah.
with animals, and raising your own meat, man, it's easy. Well,
Yeah.
it's not easy, it's expensive, but it's when you get it back, you can't beat it.
Yeah, you know where it came from.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had two cows about 10 years ago. We had a horse farm, and we put some cows in a certain area because I don't know. Do you mix your cows and horses? Do you do that, or do
What do
you
you
have them
mix 'em?
separated?
Oh, they're separated. Like I've got a cow pen, and then I've got my horse. He's got a stall and a turnout. So
Yeah,
every now and then I let them hang out together. I always find them at the fence because they're like
yeah.
best friends.
Are they?
But more it's my cow and my pit bull. They hang out together.
Yeah.
Like it's the weirdest bond that those two have. Because she makes my 75-pound pit bull, good sized pit bull,
Yeah.
look tiny, but they just go hang out, walk around, just being friends.
Okay, so pit bulls. That's a very distinct breed. Like, why did you choose pit bull for your dog?
He was a rescue. I was never actually a big pit bull person. My sister years ago, she got a pit bull puppy because they knew someone who was breeding them. When she got Denali, she was a cool little pup, great dog.
Yeah.
And like that was the first pit bull. And then my last one, Opie, he was found on the streets, and one of my friends reached out to me. She's like, "Hey, this dog needs a home. He's small. He's super underweight and everything." I was like, I'll take him. So I took him, and that dude was my best friend. He got me through a lot of stuff, like the transition from California to Arizona, some really bad breakups. That was my buddy. We lived in a hotel for 3 months together. We had a house fire, so got put up in the hotel. Me and him, we just kicked it. We were in downtown Riverside. I'd take him out for walks. All the bouncers would come up to him and just like hang out with my dog. They're like, you want to bring him in? I'm like, can I bring a dog into a nightclub? Like, feels weird.
Yeah.
But,
No. Yeah. Service animal.
Yeah.
Big winks.
He was the coolest dog. Like, again, it was downtown Riverside. So, you know, good parts, bad parts. But the cool thing,
California.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cool thing about him, he knew the difference between a homeless person and a tweaker. So when we would go out walking, if he saw a homeless person, he'd go jump in their lap and like cuddle up into him.
Yeah.
If he saw a tweaker, you better run.
Yeah.
Like trying to control him he
didn't like that at all.
Dogs know people.
Yeah, they do,
they
man.
Can judge.
There's a reason why they're man's best friend. They choose you too.
Absolutely.
And if they don't, then that's why. So you had a house fire?
I had a house fire.
Tell me that story.
Woke up one morning and was just groggy, getting up, ready for work. Didn't even notice the smell of smoke in the house. And then I went into the kitchen to pour my coffee. Took me a minute and then realized, hey, the clock on the stove is off. Hey, the microwave's not working. So I was like, what the hell? And then I kind of turned and I saw in the hallway through the door that I just walked through, up right above it, the paint was bubbling black. So immediately I was like, that's wiring. It was an old house. I think it was built in the 40s or 50s. So I had old ass wiring. So I literally ran outside, flipped the breakers all off, killed that. The landlord, he actually lived across the street. He called the fire department, went back in, got the dogs, locked them in the garage, and it was a separated garage, went and just banging on my sister's door.
Yeah.
Like, hey, get out. And she thought I was kicking her out. I'm like, no. We got a fire. Get out of the house.
Wow.
Next thing you know, all the fire departments there, the chief's out and everything. And then they're asking me like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I assume it's electrical. And they were like, how did you know to lock up the dogs? I'm like, well, I've seen a lot of videos. I'm locking up my dogs for their safety, not necessarily for you guys, but I don't want anything happening to my dogs because you guys are coming in full blown suits that my dogs are not used to.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. So to make sure, everything's good, I lock them, in the garage.
It wasn't for you. It was for the dogs.
Absolutely.
And they were like, oh, we usually have you take care of your dogs. No, dude, I took care of my dogs.
Yeah. Like I don't want someone getting bit and then I lose my dogs.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So like, I love my animals more than I like people.
Right.
So naturally they come first.
One of my buddies sent me a post and it was like, if you would hit a kid in the face to save a dog.
I know exactly which one that is. It's the dude just slapping every single kid.
He's going in a roundabout. He's like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Did you see the advertisement for that new Brad Pitt movie where he's got his service dog from like the war? He's like a ranger, and oh my gosh, you haven't, have you?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, I don't know the name of the movie. Jackson throws some B-roll in there, but it's coming towards the end of the year. And Brad Pitt is with his service animal and he's trying to go out into the wilderness to experience something. Plane goes down. They lose the pilot. And then the dog drags him out of a crash, out of the water, and they have to survive. And it like goes through their journey. And I'm like, if that dog dies at the end of this movie, I'm not gonna watch it purposely just so I know if he dies, because I won't go see it. I will not go see that movie. But the movie is it's cool, man. And we probably like it. You probably like it because you get that bond with your dog.
Absolutely.
And whenever you have that bond, and it's a special bond, it's just a unique thing. They'll bring it through anything. And the videos.
100%. That was like what you just said. Like if the dog dies, I almost didn't watch the whole John Wick series just because the opening of that. But then I understand. I'm like, you do that to one of my dogs,
done.
That's happening.
Yeah, Chris Kyle has a couple stories where someone killed his dog, and he goes after him. And I'm like, justified. Whatever happens, justified. That's where I'm at. you know,
exactly.
like, so, I mean, you're a big mental health advocate. I know in the mental health space that, especially for me, like I got my dog when I was, coming back from Afghanistan, and it was just me and my dog, man. I mean, it was just me and my dog for a long time. I used to bring my dog to work. And then, I had some things in Afghanistan that were happening as they were exiting, where the people I used to work with, the commandos that were doing the end time work, were fighting against the Taliban, and they were sending me text messages. And then we lost one of them, and then the Taliban got a hold of that guy's phone, and I had to go see a shrink, because like now I'm seeing things that I don't want to see, and I won't go any farther than that. But the shrink was like, "You're okay," and I'm like, "I got a dog. I'm good.
Exactly.
I'm good." Like that guy died doing whatever he wanted to do, what he thought was important, and he left a legacy. So I don't feel bad for that. I think he did what he wanted to do, and my dog is here to support me, not you, who doesn't even know me. My dog knows me.
Exactly. I've got that with my 3 boys. Like at the end of the day, no matter what I'm going through, I've got my dogs.
Yeah.
Like they rely on me. And the cool thing about that, I could have the worst, just dog shit day.
Yeah.
I come home, all 3 of them just excited, happy to see me. But they also know like when I'm going through something, if I'm having a day,
They sense that.
and I'm just sitting down, all 3 of them jump up on the couch, and like sometimes it's annoying as hell because they're just in your face like, "You okay? You okay? You okay?" And I'm like, "Back off." But like when you got that happening for you, you know it's gonna be okay. You got
Sure.
support. And it's crazy because it's dogs. They can't talk to you, but they show you their love.
Yeah. It's a different level of friendship.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Like there's not a damn thing I wouldn't do for my dogs.
Yeah, man. And yeah, I like that. All right, let's go into the mental health space.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier, and you're like, listen, there's nothing I'm not going to try. Basically, you're a jack of all trades, master of none, because you're not going to just sit on one thing and try. Everything that comes to you is now, it's something you want to conquer. How did you get to be like that?
It was, it took a long time to get to that point, but it finally got to when I realized like I wasn't made out of glass, right? Like once I realized that anything was possible, and not just anything, but everything was possible. The hardest thing and the only thing that will break you is your own mind. Like I've competed with the best of them. I've done worlds, I've done state champions, I've done this, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've broken just about everything in my body. It sucks. There's days I wake up where I'm 60, but as long as my head is in the right space,
Yeah.
nothing can stop me.
Yeah. When did you start your jiu-jitsu journey?
That was June of 2010.
All right. Yeah. That's so you got in the gym, probably felt like everybody else, or like, I don't know what I'm doing here. How was your first feeling? Did you feel like you belong, or did you feel like you're out of place?
Well, like I had wrestled in high school.
Fair.
And then I went back and I helped for, a little bit. And then I had came back from living away for college. And when I say living away, I was in San Bernardino. My parents lived in Riverside, 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
I was back helping with wrestling, but I kind of realized at one point I was getting more out of it than the kids that were wrestling. Like,
yeah, teaching is a different level, isn't it?
It wasn't necessarily the teaching aspect of it. It was the mentality. Like a lot of schools these days, they've completely changed. Like you can't, back in my day, you got in a fight, you were suspended for a day.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas like if you did wrestling, you did football, you did stuff like that, you can go beat the piss out of each other and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
And when I was, coaching wrestling, these guys were just like not understanding, like, hey, you get to go out for 6 minutes, take all that negative bullshit and do something good with it. You get to turn that into a positive energy and just let it out. And when I started realizing I was getting that more than like the people who need it, I needed something different. Yeah. I needed something more. I had to push that envelope. And where I was living, there was a jiu-jitsu school 5 minutes from my house. It was, they rented out a subspace inside of a gym, and I went and did that. It was a black belt teaching there. and started, doing that, was still going to school, started competing. But the first day I went in there, I got my ass whooped in like, I had a wrestling background.
Yeah.
I thought I was,
You'd be all right.
I thought I would hang. Oh God, no. And it was no-gi. So it wasn't like I was even getting choked with my own collar. It was, my arm was like behind my head, all sorts of stuff. My foot's twisted all different ways. And I'm like, I love this. It's
a new challenge. It opens up a new challenge.
Yeah, definitely a new challenge. It's kind of sick and twisted because I'm like, I didn't know I could be sore in places that I was sore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I used to go to the gym and do this and do that, running, lifting, get the major sore parts. But like, jiu-jitsu is a whole nother level of, it hurts.
Yeah, you definitely work things you wouldn't expect.
Oh yeah, like
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know what ab cramps were, not stomach cramps, but actual ab cramps were until jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
and
that's legit.
So started doing that, fell in love with it. I think within 3 or 4 months, competed in my first tournament.
Yeah.
Won that tournament. And I was like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe I belong.
Yeah.
So kept doing it. Didn't switch schools, but switched locations. I went to headquarters, and that was in Norco, California. That was a sequence. And I made it until my second stripe on my purple belt, and that's when I moved to Arizona.
Okay.
So like, and the cool thing about, being in Southern California, all the big tournaments were in our backyard. They were in Long Beach. They were in Orange County. They were this, they were that. So it wasn't like a big drive, and we had them almost a new tournament every month.
That's cool. So you spend a lot of time in tournament spaces.
Yes, I've done a lot of tournaments. I mean, I competed very, very regularly, unless I was hurt.
Yeah.
I competed a lot.
So wrestling, jiu-jitsu, sports in general, it's different for you because you have no hands. Explain that one.
So that's the weird thing, is like, people notice it. I don't.
Yes.
This is since birth. Like, this is what I know. Like, you normal handed folk, like, I don't know how you do things. I know how to tie my shoe. I don't know how you guys tie your shoe.
Okay.
Like, do you do the loop swoop pull, the bunny ears? I don't know. I can't speak on that. But I've definitely learned to adapt.
Yeah.
I don't see it because that's just, okay, this works for me. It's not like I had something, lost it, and now I'm trying to rebuild it.
Yeah,
right?
no, I get that.
It's just, figure it the fuck out.
So whenever you're getting instructions or giving instructions, you're more attuned to the details than someone who has like years of wrestling experience. And then they went to, you're looking at everything like, this is how I'm going to do this. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I see how you're doing it. I'm going to do it this way. So you're already breaking things down to a different level than I think, I would coming into jiu-jitsu. I felt like uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And I had a wrestling background too. And I'm talking to the professors, and I'm like, combatives instructor, I've done Asian martial arts, and I got my ass handed to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I mean, it's, we did striking last night.
Yeah.
Like, Professor Tyler, he shows something. Me, I have to be a southpaw, which sucks because I'm right-handed, right-footed.
mm-hmm.
But to keep the range,
Yeah.
I had to learn to fight completely backwards. He shows everything basically as orthodox.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already, as he's going, I'm like, okay,
Switch.
his one is now a 2. This, I'm relearning everything backwards. And then it comes time to where, like, I have to train against a southpaw. I'm like, oh God, what do I do? It's weird. You get so used to it because we don't have very many southpaws in the gym. Like, I'm pretty sure I can count them on my fingers how many we have.
I remember when I lined up southpaw to you, you're like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're not doing this. I liked it. I like southpaw to southpaw. That's good for me. If you're going to come up southpaw, so am I.
Yeah.
It's just, that's where I want to be with the ranges that I'm working in with, but I've been doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you never stop learning.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Last Wednesday night, I stuck around for the second gi class, and Professor Hoops, he had showed something I had never seen before. In 16 years of doing jiu-jitsu, he showed like sweeping basically as a stand-up, and I'm like, You mean to tell me this has been available the whole damn time?
Could have been using it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I play that position all the time and I've never seen that sweep. So yeah, I'm still learning, but I definitely have to break things down into details. I've known a lot of professors that are like, oh, you do this, and it's like, they have this 3-step move.
Yeah.
Actually, to execute that properly, it's like 8 steps. And understanding the physics behind it and the anatomy.
Yeah.
That's a big thing where I think a lot of people miss on that. Like, oh, an armbar, you have to have the thumb up. No, you don't. You got to know which way the point of the elbow is. You got to know which way the ditch of the elbow is facing. And you need to know where to apply that pressure.
Yeah.
It's little things like that. Details matter.
Yeah.
They make or break whatever you're trying to do.
Do you think that translates to life easily? Like people are learning jujitsu, but they're really learning to rewire their life. But I don't think they really get that until later in the
Absolutely.
journey.
Like you gotta set little goals, right? You can't just say, hey, I want to do this and just skip to it. You got to break things down into something, little things that are achievable in steps.
Yeah.
Like trying to get happy. You can't just be like in a depressive funk and it's like, you know what? I'm happy. No, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy who's battled with that shit for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's, you gotta, okay, what can I do to fix today?
Yeah.
What can I do that I can, do this longevity wise that it's going to benefit me? That's where, people need to make a game plan and they need to understand how this is going to affect them. Not just, oh, I'm going to do this just because. No, I go paddleboarding every weekend. Every weekend I'm at the lake. And that's one of those things, like I figured out why. The water, well, one, it's 110 degrees out here during the summer, so the water feels really nice. It's warm right now. But 2, it's calm, it's peaceful. I go out there, I turn my music on. There's nobody around me. There's nothing. It's just me by myself on a board paddling.
Yeah.
And it's the peaceful. That's my mental reset I do every week. I think every single person in this world needs to have a reset button. If not, you're going to nut up. You're probably going to dwell in clamshell up. And one day it's not going to end good.
How important is nature in that equation? Because we talked about social media and we have opinions on that. But how important is nature in this whole reset equation to you?
It's huge. Like,
how long have you been doing the paddleboard thing, or have you always done something outdoors?
I didn't start paddleboarding until like a couple years ago. I had seen it.
Yeah.
And then I went up to Montana. One of my friends like, hey, you want to take the kids paddleboarding? And I was like, never done this. Okay. And I was like, all right, this is kind of nice. I came home, went on Amazon, bought a paddleboard, and then started doing that. And then just recently, I really started doing it because before I was doing it like once every couple months. And then I went and did it. And I got back in the truck and like, I'm actually relaxed. Like I'm calm. I'm at peace. It's very, very hard to find. So I was like, all right, let's do it again next weekend. Same thing. Calm, at peace, relaxed.
Yeah.
And I just keep doing that because I see what it did. And it helps tremendously.
Oh, okay. Now I got to bridge some things now. So you've helped with students in the past with wrestling, and then you've found this new outlet that students today probably don't realize because they spend a lot of time on screens. Have you thought about pairing that together ever to like offer it to schools on like, hey, guys, I've been a student athlete. I've gone through the journey. I'm now a black belt. And this is how I think you can connect to the world, by paddleboarding. And this is how, I've been doing it for a couple of years. This is how I feel afterwards. Have you ever thought about putting that into like a talk to students and continue helping the next generation like you started with?
No, I haven't thought about that. Like, because one of the things, like, this works for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you, hey, go do this. It's going to help. I'm also not going to tell you, hey, go read a book.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
fair.
If you want to be great at something, put everything into it. Like, be obsessed with it. You want to be good at fighting, you got to be obsessed. Jiu-jitsu, obsessed. Any type of sport like that, you can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, you got to want it, or what are you doing?
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen unless you go all in.
Exactly. And for me, luckily, paddleboarding works. Like I've done a lot of things that I thought, hey, this was going to help. And I've done a lot of destructive things. And
Like drinking and
absolutely, like
drugs.
there was a good party time in my life. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this.
Hey, it happens to all of us,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
but there was a lot of bad coping mechanisms I had. A lot of deaths over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And it hits.
Yeah.
And I finally found something to where I'm like, rather than just going out and getting pissed drunk, being hungover the next day, chasing the hangover, skipping the gym, skipping this, doing that, it's like, you know what? You need to go do something positive. I've got my horse. I go out in between, like, I'll find a way to sneak time out at work.
Yeah.
And I go out and I work him 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just getting that reset. I'm out in the sun, go do that. Yeah. Weekends, I can go paddleboard. So I don't have to just deal with all the negativity in a bad way.
Yeah. You doing groundwork with your horse? Is that how you connect?
I got him. He was very, very green. And the lady had warned me, she's like, every single man that's been on him, he's bucked off.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I looked at her husband, rather large fellow.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm probably half his size. You know, my dainty 155 pounds shouldn't be a problem for a horse. Started working them, started getting to the point where I was about to ride them and did a tournament and I got jacked up bad. Hernia, retore my hip and then detached 2 tendons from my groin to my leg.
So the doctor said, take a break.
My cousin, luckily I got family that works at an AO. So whenever I'm like, hey, something's not right. Hey, dude, need you to get me an MRI. Yeah. Next day I'm in there and got the results and I looked at it. And I was like, that doesn't look good. And then he called me a couple hours later. He's like, dude, what the hell did you do?
Yeah. You're like a tournament.
It was a tournament. He's like, and he looked at the hernia. He's like, it's so bad in there. We can't open you up.
Wow.
It's a mess. Like, he's just like, you have to let everything scar over. I'm like, well, what about the 2 detached tendons? He's like, you don't need them.
Wow.
I'm like, wait, I don't need them. So can we get rid of the other ones?
Yeah, no doubt. Right. Like, what is this extra weight I'm carrying around?
Yeah. Right. It's like something I have to worry about later, but it was just a mess. And it was to the point where for me to get into bed, I'd have to sit down, literally pick up my leg, dead weight my leg, pick it up, turn and set it on to the bed.
Wow.
Because you don't realize when you lift your leg how much tension that is on your stomach.
Yeah.
And when you got a hole in your stomach and your intestines are trying to push out, you don't want to move, not to mention the torn hip.
Now, was all this going on during all the deaths that were happening in your life?
That was 2024. I did that one. At that time, there weren't
as many.
There weren't many. 2021 was bad. I had lost my grandma. I had a girlfriend pass away. That was rough. 2023, one of my best friends committed suicide. And that was rough because I had to get the phone call from his dad. And he was, a brother to us. He was at my house like every weekend, a gearhead like me, rebuilding a truck. He finally got like his childhood truck back. He found it, bought it, and we were rebuilding the motor. We were slapping it back in. We only had a couple more things to do. And then one thing, I'm at work and I get a phone call and I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't know that number. Typically, I do not answer numbers I don't know, but it was a 480. I'm like, okay, well, that is an Arizona number. I pick it up. He's like, hey, is this Sean? I'm like, yeah. Who's this? He's like, is this Sean from Ethos? I'm like, okay, really? Who is this? He's like, hey, man, this is John. I'm like, can I help you? I'm like, I'm Jake's dad. And immediately I was like, what happened? And he had told me about it. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Talked to him. As soon as I got off the phone, I called Tyler. I was like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That was a rough one. And then, let's see. 2024, after I got the hip and everything fixed, my dad passed away.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
He, esophageal cancer. I think he was diagnosed April, stage 4. So it was one of those, like, try to be positive, try to think of everything, but you know, you got to look at it like we got 6 months. And
I hate it when they put timelines on it.
well, I mean, there's like, oh, well, this percentage of people get this amount of years, but mostly it's only this. And I'm like, you know, you hope for the best, but you prep for the worst.
Yeah.
So he had, like, right before all of that, he found this cruise that we do, or that we did. It's called Headbanger's Boat.
Okay.
It's hosted by Lamb of God. He's like, hey, you know what? This is a bucket list item. I want to do this. And he had told me about it like the November before. And because he had just saw that it landed and everything. He's like, oh my God, this is cool. It's literally a cruise for metalheads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I got you, Dad. So his birthday and Christmas present was like, hey, I got it all booked.
Yeah.
We've got the cruise, we got the flights. It's all taken care of. All we got to do is go.
Yeah.
A couple months later, he's diagnosed. And so we did everything, and he fought tooth and nail. We got on that cruise.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I was making sure he was getting his meds. He had a feeding tube at that time. I was pushing him around in the wheelchair. I was like, I don't care what I got to do. You're getting on that cruise. We're doing that. We got home, and he passed 2 weeks later.
But he made that cruise.
And so now I go every single year.
Hell yeah.
And it, like, this last year was cool because when we were on the cruise, we got to take a group photo with Lamb of God.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's like one of our huge favorite bands together. I can't tell you how many times we've gone to go see them.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing them for 20 years.
Yeah, that's huge, man. When you get to, you know, be in that whole environment. What a magical moment, man.
It was great. And I took that picture, I framed it, I put it up on the wall in my office. Like, anyone who knows me, I don't have a lot of pictures in my house. Not that I don't, like, have a lot of family things or, you know, accomplishments and stuff like that, but it's like, I moved around a lot, and it's one thing you got to put up on the wall means one thing you got to take down from the wall.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I took that picture with us to the cruise the next year. And so I went and took the picture with Lamb of God holding that picture. And they were like, oh my God, that's last year's picture. I'm like, yeah. But also all the people we met the year before that met my dad, I brought a marker. Every single one of them signed it.
That's cool.
So now that's sitting at home up on the wall. All the signatures from all my friends that we met on the cruise. People in Texas, people in Indiana, Washington, all over. And what brought us all together was that ship.
That's amazing, man. It's cool how music makes everything like that come together.
Absolutely. I would not be here if it wasn't for music.
Yeah.
I can tell you that 100%. It saved my life more times than I can count.
I've heard this story a couple times. We had a guy on a show. His name was Jason Mao, and he lost the ability to walk. Basically, his tendons came off of the bone, and the doctors were like, never seen this before. We don't know how long it's going to take. Took him a year per leg to have the ability to move it again, and now he's walking around. But yeah, he said he listened to a lot of music during his recovery. There's a lot more to that story. That it's sad what happens whenever you get hit. It usually doesn't just happen once. It usually happens in waves. And that was why I was asking the question, was all this happening when you were getting hit? Because once you get hit, then you get hit again, then you get hit again.
Yeah.
And that's how life works.
It felt like that for a long time. It was just one thing after another. But, you know, bad things are going to come. So are good things. Like, I've got a lot to still be grateful for. I've got my farm. I've got my job. I've got a house over my head or roof over my head. But I've got some really, really good people in my life that I'm like, you know what? I've got a support system.
Yeah.
Like, the people that know when I call, it's an oh shit call.
Yeah.
They're there. I've got a good group of people that, you know what? They keep me around.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.
Entrepreneurs, you're wasting money. Are you paying for TV, radio, maybe even newspapers? I gotta tell you, that's all dead. What's new? Well, I'm glad you asked, Atlas. It's podcasting. Just so happens I have a very successful podcast that I can put you on. And we're looking for guests. So if you have a product or service that will help people, hit us up. Atlas Aultman Targeted Podcast. We bring new audiences to new people, and we bring new people to, well, you. Check us out.